Ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reaction, and this is What If Earth Got Kicked Out of the Solar System? Rogue Earth by the channel Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. Yeah, this is a massive science channel. I love the topic that this channel tackles. Yeah, I think as we saw, videos like this from different channel in the past. So, what happens when Earth gets kicked out of the solar system? Well, obviously, eventually things will start to get cooled down, so we will have, a few days, a few months before everything starts to get cooled down, I guess. Before we, passes, I guess, Jupiter, Saturn, gas giants, by then the temperature would be in minus hundreds. So by then most people will start to die out, and eventually, everybody will be dead. There will be like ice age type of thing. The globe will be covered in snow, but the snow will be on top of the sea, so sea will be insulated. So inside the sea, I guess sea life will thrive because they deep inside the sea, because of all the chemicals coming out of the earth, that will feed and give life to all the sea creatures. They won't need sunlight, so they will survive for a long time. And yeah, when we kicked out, depending on how we go, which path we take, things could hit Earth. So the things could hit Earth and bombard everything. So there are lots of variables there. We could go on and catch another star system and start to orbit that eventually, but humans will not be alive by then. So yeah, if a future generation, future I don't know, species come out and eventually they find some kind of fossils and things that indicates there once were people like humans, and that would be surreal. Like we once were part of a different star system. That would be ridiculous. But how would it look, man? Say we get kicked out, eventually the sun will start to look smaller and smaller, things will start to get colder and colder. That would be frightening. Yeah, let's see what this channel says and goes into detail about it. Yeah, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction I did. There's a link in the description with all of my videos. Check out the cards for all the playlists. Check out the end cards, and yeah, let's watch it.
The night sky seems peaceful and orderly. But in reality, stars are careening through the galaxy at speeds of hundreds of thousands of kilometers per hour. Not bound by static formations, but changing neighborhoods constantly. Fortunately, space is big, and so the stars of the Milky Way are very unlikely to hit us. Unfortunately, they don't have to hit anything to make us have a really bad time on Earth. And there are already stars starting to get very close.
What? I didn't know that. There's a star coming to hit us. Our sun. I didn't know that. Even if it doesn't hit us, it would destroy basically all the orbits and things of all the things that is orbiting the sun, like Oort clouds and all the asteroids and things like that. If let's say a star comes closer and closer to the sun and just pass by it, it will eventually drag out all the asteroids and things like that from the Oort cloud, and they are a lot of them. I mean, ridiculously lot inside the Oort cloud. They would all come inside the solar system and bombard the planets.
To understand how dangerous stars are to us, we need to talk about gravity. Gravity attracts every piece of matter to every other piece of matter in the universe. You are attracted by an atom a million light years away and vice versa. Luckily, this force gets weaker over distance, and it also depends on how massive something is. So things that are close and are very massive are more attractive, winning the cosmic tug of war. This way, massive things define how smaller things behave around them. The Sun makes up 99.75% of all the mass in the solar system, and so it shapes the behavior and orbits of everything else in it. Billions of years ago, after the Sun was born, the solar system was a chaotic and dangerous place, as the planets were formed from countless little pieces that collided constantly. But over the eons, a stable balance emerged. Today, most planets and asteroids have settled into safe and predictable orbits. We have the inner and outer planets, the asteroid and Kuiper belt, and at the edge, the Oort cloud, a giant sphere of comets orbiting slowly in cold storage.
Yeah, there you go. all the comets. Oort cloud is humongous. I mean, Oort cloud is basically, I think, sun's influence. Yeah, I think that's the sun's influence is the Oort cloud. After that, all the cosmic rays and all the interstellar radiation and things like that start to pummel. I think Voyager 1, when it got out of the Oort cloud, it started to get pummeled with all the cosmic rays and things like that. It get reported back, and it was constantly getting bombardment with all the type of radiation and things. So yeah, I think Oort cloud is where sun's influence and sun's protection ends. Outside of that, it's just, yeah.
We really don't want this balance to be disturbed. If another star came too close to us, its gravity would pull on everything in the solar system
What
like
star?
a spoiled toddler, messing up the pleasant order of the planets and asteroids and comets. This isn't some imaginary danger. Some 70,000 years ago, a red dwarf-brown dwarf binary system passed through the Oort cloud and messed things up. It might even have sent a deadly
A brown dwarf orbiting a red dwarf. Damn. This happened, huh?
onslaught of asteroids our way. But it could take 2 million years until those visitors from the Oort cloud arrive in the inner solar system. But there's a much bigger problem on the horizon. Gliese 710, a red dwarf with about half the mass of the Sun, is currently headed towards the solar system. In about 1 million years, it'll pass through the Oort cloud and become the brightest star in the night sky. A close flyby like this would unfold over hundreds of thousands of years, disrupting the orbits of millions of objects in the Oort cloud considerably. If we're unlucky, it will trigger a new period of planetary bombardment similar to the early solar system. The night sky could be filled with comets and asteroids raining down on the inner solar system. The larger ones could cause dinosaur-level mass extinctions and would be bad for the stock market. But it could get much worse. The galaxy is an intense place, and stars get close to each other regularly.
I mean, it would depend, right? I mean, the red dwarf has to be at our side of the orbit when it comes closer. And what are the chances of that? I mean, Earth is incredibly small. If you are at Saturn or somewhere, it is really hard to find Earth. If you're coming from outside of the solar system, like from Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, if you look hard, you still can't find Earth. Earth is incredibly small in the solar system. So red dwarf coming close to the Earth's side, that's rare. If it doesn't come to the Earth's side, Earth is the opposite side of the Sun. I think Sun's gravity will keep us in place, and it won't matter. But yeah, there is a chance that could happen. Damn, so people are like, in 4 billion years, Sun's gonna, die out, and, Earth is gonna get consumed, and people are thinking there are billions of years. No, in 1 million years, there's a massive threat. In a few more million years, there's a massive threat of big asteroids coming our way. This is just after comets, asteroids.
So it is possible that a star could come much closer and not just pass us, but fly directly through the inner solar system. This would be very bad in the extreme. The chance of another star colliding with the Sun is astronomically unlikely, but that isn't what we're worried about. If another star were to pass by about as close as the Earth is from the Sun, it could easily eject the Earth from the solar system.
What if it hits the Earth? What if that Earth is gone? You'd see a giant red ball coming towards us. It would get hotter and hotter. It would come so close. The heat from it alone would kill us. And then it would consume the entire Earth. We would be so effed up, man, if that happens.
The odds of such an event are estimated to be around 1 in 100,000 in the next 5 billion years. Small, but not absurd.
In 5 billion years. I'm like 1 in 100,000. That's not that big of an odd, man. That is scarily small comparing how big cosmic events are. I thought it would be 1 in a trillion or something like that. But yeah, in 5 billion years, then yeah, it makes sense.
Absurdly so. As we discussed in another video, there seem to be billions of rogue planets doing their own thing in the galaxy, and this is one way to make them. So if this were to happen with an average red dwarf, what would happen on Earth? Kicking Earth out of the solar system. As the star enters the solar system, a small orangish dot appears in the sky that grows bigger and bigger for months, eventually becoming visible during the day. It would get bigger and much brighter than the moon. too bright to look at directly.
Oh god, I'm a very visual person, and he's just walking through us. How would it feel? And this is scaring me. Imagine during the day looking up, and there is not just a bright thing, a red thing. First of all, we human see red thing as a danger. Anything red is just spooks us before we even think anything about it. Just something glowing red is just like imagine a big orb in the daylight. Big orb in the sky is glowing red. Holy shit, that would be so scary.
The night sky would be filled with an eerie red glow. After a few months, it would start shrinking again. But so would the sun. Over a few years, the sun slowly grows smaller in the sky, and with it warmth and light start to dissipate.
Oh god, obviously this would take a long time to happen, I think, yeah. But still, imagine that, first everything was fine, then some red dots start to appear at night sky, like, eventually if months and months pass, eventually start to get closer and closer. Now in the daylight you can see a red orb in the sky, like what the fuck, that was scary. Eventually it gets bright, really bright, and then it start to fade. But also you slowly start to realize, wait a minute, our sun is getting smaller too. Things are starting to get colder. It just got to smaller and smaller. And oh my god, the fear that goes through my mind just thinking about that is so damn scary. That's a cosmic event that is out of anybody's hand. That's it. We can't do nothing about it. We are gonna die.
All around the world, as the days turn dark, the final winter of humanity would begin. The polar ice caps begin to grow and spread, while plants shrivel and die.
Look, I'm pretty sure scientists around the world can predict that if that happens long before it happens. Like they would see that before we even get to witness that a red dwarf is coming. So first of all, we would get out of Earth if that's the case. At the least to preserve life on planet. I think we would burn all the fossil fuel we can to raise carbon dioxide as much as we can, so when the planet gets ejected, the carbon dioxide can keep the heat as much as it can. Obviously it's not going to make that much of a difference, but I'm pretty sure it would at least double the length of life on the Earth. So I'm pretty sure even if we get ejected out of the solar system, like outside of Pluto, because of all the fossil fuel we burn and because of all the carbon dioxide that trap heat, I think we could be alive even if we pass Pluto. Otherwise we would die before we even pass Jupiter. By then it would be minus 150 or something.
Forests freeze and animals die in droves. As the Earth passes the orbit of Mars, the average surface temperature has plummeted to near minus 50 degrees
Why is Mars fine, man? Fuck Mars. Why is Mars fine and we are getting ejected?
Celsius. From space, Earth begins to look like an icy moon, the blue-green surface becoming the pale grey-white of death. As global infrastructure breaks down, people huddle together indoors, burning what they can for warmth as the temperature continues to drop, counting the days until they'll be out of food which no longer grows. Everybody living at the surface is living on borrowed time. By the time Earth reaches Jupiter's orbit, surface temperatures sink to minus 150 degrees Celsius.
There you go, I was right about that.
Coldest ever recorded temperatures in Antarctica. Needless
Most
to say,
people are dead.
By now, almost everyone is dead. Without the energy from sunlight to evaporate water, clouds don't form and the water cycle stops.
I was constantly hearing in the news how China is trying to create artificial sun, I think. So I'm pretty sure by this time, even if we don't leave Earth for some reason, we could create artificial suns by using nuclear fusion. I mean, we can already do that in power plants. We can do nuclear fusion if we really want it. So, controlled nuclear fusion in the sky as satellites, not that big, but just big enough that, it orbits the Earth, but also provides heat. I mean, that would be so awesome. Maybe in that sense, we could still preserve the planet. Even if if we get ejected into the interstellar space, we don't have... obviously, there are more issues, like we don't have sun's protection now. So all the radiation would kill ozone there and everything. But maybe we'll have to figure something out about that too. But as far as just being sun, we could create artificial sun, can't we?
The polar ice caps eventually touch at the equator and the oceans become covered in a thick layer of ice. As more and more of its heat leaks out, more water freezes onto the bottom of the ice sheet, the concentration of salt in the deep ocean grows, poisoning most animals that survived here. Although around hydrothermal vents, communities of extremophiles might adapt even to these circumstances. Deep below the surface, some bacteria...
I'm pretty sure things like animalcules and things, this small thing, that extremely small thing that are everywhere, they would survive, because I'm pretty sure they survive in the space. I think these are weird things. They die out, but if you brought it back to water or something, they become alive again. So I'm pretty sure they would survive.
would not notice much of any of this, as they're still kept warm by the radioactive decay of elements in the Earth's core. As the Earth reaches the orbit of Pluto and the Kuiper Belt, the Sun is still the brightest star in the sky, but it's one among many, with stars now visible during the day. The temperature is now barely 40 degrees Celsius above absolute zero, below the freezing temperature of the gases in the atmosphere. A weird spectacle, enjoyed by no one unfortunately, unfolds as the atmosphere turns into nitrogen and then oxygen snow. Over a few years, it's deposited into an icy 10-meter thick sheet all over the planet's surface, with only a thin whisper of...
I like to think we would create some kind of construction underground that would shield us and give us some kind of heat. We could have some, I don't know, some mechanical things that would provide us heat for some time, I guess. You could create some kind of movie, sci-fi movie like that, where Earth is near absolute zero. Everything's frozen. There is no sun in the sky, but people are alive underground. Whoever people are left, you still need fuel to keep the generators and things going. That is providing heat or something.
gas remaining. The frozen corpses of flora and fauna are buried beneath them. As Earth leaves the solar system, it becomes a rogue planet, traveling alone through the dark, lifeless and in solitude.
We know there are many rogue planets out there in the interstellar space. What if one of them were like Earth? What if there were really advanced civilization with billions and billions of people, like 50 billion or something people with a massive Earth, more massive than Earth-like planet, and they were really advanced at the time, but something like he's saying here happened, everybody died out, and it's just a rogue planet out there roaming and we don't even know about it. One day we find out that this is a rogue planet somehow, we mastered interstellar space or something, and we find out that there is a planet, we find out there were people here. That would be so surreal, man.
But weirdly enough, there is hope. Humanity would not be surprised by this potential extinction event.
Yeah.
We'd notice it thousands of years in advance.
Way longer.
There's not a lot we could do to stop a star, but we could prepare.
Yeah, we could
Most
get the
of us
fuck
would
out of
perish,
here.
but a few million could survive in huge artificial complexes powered by geothermal and nuclear energy, possibly even fusion if we can learn to use the ice around us for power.
There you go.
Here, humanity might survive for hundreds of thousands of years. At some point, we would become used to our circumstances, and new generations would watch documentaries in disbelief about the time we had our own star. And
Like how that is in the Metro games. I love Metro games, man. Metro 2033, Metro, Last Light, Exodus. First two Metro games, they are in. Obviously, it's a book, also a novel. I played games. I know about games. They are underground, and kids are talking. This game is so well made that there are conversation and detail that just touches you every time you hear it. So there are kids and everybody's talking about how people explain that there used to be houses, there used to be buildings, there are photos of New York cities and the Russia and Moscow and things like that, and everybody's underground, nobody goes outside. That's just so surreal. That's how it would be.
and could walk the surface of Earth. And at some point, we might decide to look for another home. If the Earth were lucky enough to pass by another star with a habitable planet, we could try to make a fresh start. Spaceflight, oddly enough, would become very easy without the atmosphere in the way. So it's not unthinkable that the last survivors would leave Earth behind and try again on a new planet around a new star. Maybe one day, thousands of years later, the descendants of humanity will tell legends about Earth's ancient past. Stories of our lost home, of a mysterious icy planet floating alone and empty through the dark of space.
Cynical side of me coming out. This implies that we humans are sturdy people. Lots of things that has happened in the past tells me we are not. So I'm not so sure I have faith in ourselves that after all shit like this happens and we survive somehow and go to different planet or survive somewhere. I'm pretty sure we'll go extinct. Lots of things kill us. Our own planet can easily kill us. I mean, last year is an easy example of that. Humans are not sturdy, regardless of how sturdy we think we are. We are not. So, cynical side of me is saying, shit like this happens, we are all dead.
So basically, the key to humanity's survival is learning about what we'll be dealing with. Well, we'd better get cracking then. Our friends from Brilliant are the perfect...
Yeah, people, go to brilliant.org/nutshell and support this channel. This is a great channel. I mean, I've seen a video, I don't know which channel was that, I don't remember it, but I've seen similar videos like this from a different channel. But in this channel, he walked us through step by step, like how it would look, how the red dwarf would look in the sky, how our sun start to get smaller, and I start to visualize as he was explaining. That was just damn scary. This was awesome video. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction day. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast for all the playlists like Internet Historian, Salmonella, CGP Grey, let me know, things like that. And yeah, I'll see you next time.